certainly sound in good spirits, don't they?
Spirits being the opposite word.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal effort.
I think of all the places to pick out in the world that you've enjoyed going to, they picked the Faroe Islands.
I'd love to give him a quiz on that, see how much he actually remembers of it, that particular trip. It all sounds so straightforward. And I was walking back into the studio, I heard Get It On. Do you know what they're playing? Delamitri, Don't Come Home Too Soon. Yes, France 98. So you've been in this situation before, Willie, a mainstay of the national team for so long. Games we've been expected to win. You've been in this movie many times. It's all about no complacency, keep your concentration, levels high. This is such an important game for us tonight to go into the double-header at home in Hampden next month.
Yeah, take nothing for granted. You can't take anything for granted at this level. You know, you've got to be prepared, you've got to be organised, you've got to be disciplined, but then you've just got to play your game of football as well. It's going to be difficult, but listen, the Belarusians, it'll be difficult for them because they don't have any home support. I think Scotland will deal with it effectively, efficiently. I think it'll be a comfortable win. It should be a comfortable win. I don't see this one as one that they're going to slip up. I think the quality of player and the lesser quality of team that they're up against, there's only one result that I can see, and that's a win for Scotland.
What about Mr. Positivity himself? He was buzzing in here on Friday night. Willie, what are you saying, Mr. English?
Well, I wouldn't say I was buzzing. I thought it was a very, very good professional performance and a really good start to the group.
I would say you were buzzing.
Well, maybe, but I suppose relative to what I normally am.
Indeed.
All things are relative. I thought it was a really good performance. And I think they're going to win tonight. I can't see anything. I hope they score early, as Greece did. Maybe score a couple of early goals, as Greece did. And really just do a really good hit job on Belarus.
Go along with that, Michael. Confident, 3 points, comfortable.
Yeah, very much so. Looking forward to the game, expecting Scotland to win this game and to win it by a good few goals as well. Yep.
Well, the teams are coming out. It's time now to sit back and enjoy the action for the next stage on our journey, the destination, hopefully, the World Cup finals next summer. It's Belarus against Scotland. Our team is in place in Hungary. Michael Stewart and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks very much, Kenny. Welcome to the Zeta Arena in Zalaegerszeg. A 2.5 hour drive to the southwest of Budapest in Hungary for a huge game to be played out in the strangest of circumstances. You can almost sense the silence round about me. There's only a smattering of dignitaries and officials down below us. Otherwise, the stadium is virtually empty. Here we go with the national anthem, the Flower of Scotland. And of course now we will have the national anthem of the host country, in inverted commas, Belarus.
And now the national anthem of Belarus.
And so the stage is set, and it's a very different stage from the one we normally see, and very, very different from the atmosphere inside the Parken Stadion on Friday night when Scotland shocked the home nation Denmark by taking a point in that opening World Cup qualifier. Belarus, in the meantime, were going down 5-1 against Greece. They've changed 8 of the team that started that game as they seek to lift their own fortunes, but Scotland want to make it a 4 point from 6 start to the group, which would be an excellent return, and one which I think most Scots would have signed up for ahead of the 2 games to start this campaign. So the 2 teams, just going through the team photos, having been through the handshakes and so on, usual pleasantries pre-match. Scotland in a change kit, very pale blue, as Belarus line up all in dark red. And the 2 captains, Andy Robertson, of course, of Scotland, with Max Ebong of Belarus, with the Montenegrin officials. But this game taking front, of course, as everyone will know by now, in front of no fans and on neutral territory, with Belarus hosting the Scots more than 800 miles from their own capital of Minsk, for reasons well beyond the control of those taking part tonight. So let's see if the eerie atmosphere has any impact, whether it helps the Scots. As Tom was saying, they do have a good record in terms of playing in front of these closed doors stadiums. Looks like it'll be Scotland to kick us off here in the Zeta Arena, going from left to right as we look at it from a position high up in the main stand. And Shea Adams, who keeps his place up front for Scotland, he'll kick us off. And the referee, Nikola Dabanovic of Montenegro, ready to get us underway as soon as the match officials down on the touchline, the television, give them the cue, and there we go, we're underway, and Scotland kick us off and hope to make a positive start here in Zalaegerszeg in the west of Hungary. Very pleasant area, has to be said, as Andy Robertson goes down that left hand side. Benganan Doak, who started on that left flank, loses his footing and the ball goes over his head and out for a throw-in over on the far side. Throw-in to be taken in by Karpovic of Belarus, playing on the right of a 5. McKenna just hooks the ball over his head and out of play. Belarus were roundly beaten in that opening game by the Greeks, who certainly you would imagine will be a real threat to both Scotland and Denmark's hopes of qualifying as group winners. And I'll keep you up to date with Greece against Denmark this evening, but it's Belarus on the attack. But there's a handball given against them if any goals go in Athens. We'll let you know. Not actually sure whether it's a draw from that game would suit the Scots best, or whether maybe Greece winning and leaving Denmark in only 1 point after 2 games might be better. Who knows? As long as Scotland win here in Hungary against Belarus, as John Suter clips that one forward down the right channel, looking for Shea Adams. Was he shoved in the back? Well, the referee didn't think so, and he's lost possession, and it's Zabalin picking up. It's going to be a throw in to Scotland. Shea Adams has stayed down. I mean, it didn't look to be a great deal of contact from our position, Michael, but let's have a...
Well, you can see quite clearly it's a free kick. There's no doubt about it. Right into the back of Shea Adams, and I just wonder whether, he's ended up catching the ball on the face rather than as he was just about to chest it down. Volkov just coming right into the back of it. It was a free kick. The referee didn't see it.
And the ball's now gone out for a goal kick to Belarus, who have been playing behind closed doors in these home competitive games since 2022, and they've only won 2 of the 11 previous competitive games on the road, as it were. They played the Nations League campaign here in Zalaegerszeg. Here's Gilmore inside for McGinn. McGinn on the halfway line sweeps it to the left-hand side to the captain Andy Robertson, who's able to advance and get the head up, and he plays it out to the left-hand side to his former Liverpool teammate Ben Gannon-Doak. Hits the byline. Can he cut it back and pick out a teammate? It's a crowded 6-yard box, and it's cleared away on that right-hand side by Parkamenko, and out for a throw-in, which is quickly taken. McTominay leaves it to Robertson, but now he gets it back, the Napoli star, to his teammate Billy Gilmore, both club and country.
You can see just with taking that shy so quickly, the intent from Scotland. It was also interesting when the ball was down at Max Johnson just in front of us. You could hear the shouts, play forward.
And here's McGinn doing just that, almost at the corner flag.
Rather than, he was in the position, it was looking as if he was going to go back to the keeper, and it was quite clear, the instructions, get playing forward.
We've got a throw in Scotland down near the corner flag on the right hand side. 3 minutes in, no goals between Belarus and Scotland, as Johnston gets it back on the right hand side, and then he plays it back to Suter. Suter comes infield to McKenna. McKenna takes a touch back across to the right. Belarus pressing Scotland, and they have to go back this time to Angus Gunn, who has a pretty unenviable record of late for Scotland. 0 wins in 12. It's the equal worst of any Scotland player in history, along with Gordon Durie. They'll be hoping it can change tonight. It's a good touch from Max Johnson, but he just couldn't take it on, and it's back with the keeper Lapukov, who has been the number 1 for Belarus. There's a head knock there, which has not been spotted by the referee. Now it is. It didn't look like a foul, certainly, by John Suter, but Barkowski goes down as if he took a head knock, and the referee has now stopped play. But as I was saying, hopefully Angus Gunn can put an end to that particular run of matches without a victory. 12 it stands at, 3 draws and 9 losses, and hopefully my arithmetic's better than Tom English's earlier on. You were delighted you were able to pick him up on that.
Well, it wasn't difficult, was it? It was you giving me a nudge that prompted me.
Don't think that was necessary. Anyway, we're back underway. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland and on 5 Live Sports Extra tonight, as Belarus and Scotland come together in this second match day of the World Cup qualifiers. Here's Suter into McGinn, and Gilmore can get turned on the halfway line, and he plays it to McKenna. McKenna out to the left hand side to Robertson. Belarus sitting with everyone behind the ball inside their own half. It's Suter, plays it into McGinn. Quick ball infield to Gilmore, who takes a poor touch but manages to keep possession back to McKenna. There's Robertson. Gilmore once more on the edge of the centre circle, tries to clip that forward for the well advanced Max Johnston. That's headed away though. Up go Ebong, and Gilmore, who gets a good leap there to head it on, and become Belarus looking to try and make an impact in the Scotland defence as the debutant Malashevich. The sliding challenge comes in from McKenna. He's claiming it came back off Malashevich, but the referee, I think, has given a corner kick here to Belarus inside 6 minutes, and the first opportunity for them to take what would be a shock lead. As McKenna, I think the referee's got that one right.
The right call. Well, I tell you what, it just shows you how quick Malashevich is, because as Willie Miller was mentioning before the game, Scott McKenna is no slouch. The debutant from Dynamo Minsk there.
Here's Petchinen on the left hand side, the left wing back, to send this one out the way, and it's met by a firm header inside the penalty area, but it's off target from Barkowski, who came on to score the consolation penalty against Greece. No threat there to Angus Gunn's goal, but I mean, I think you, Michael, and most people I've spoken to are predicting a comfortable Scotland victory, but there's by no means can we begin to take that for granted. Scotland are going to have to work hard to earn that.
Well, of course, it's not going to just happen, but you're hoping with the quality and the intensity that Scotland are capable of playing at, that the result can come. It's important, you know. There was a couple of times where the ball came into John McGinn and he played it first time. That's exactly, he was in a nice little pocket of space. The problem is we then need to continue to keep playing that forward pass. We can't play too many passes that are lateral or backward, because it just allows the Belarus side to stay in a position comfortable. They're not being turned. get the ball to Gannon Doak as often as possible. He hit the byline before, it didn't come to anything, but that's exactly what you want to continue to try and do, getting into those dangerous areas, and then that's where opportunities will come from.
Offside given against Barkowski there. Scotland will have the free kick. 7.5 minutes played in Hungary here. Belarus 0, Scotland 0, as Johnston on the right hand side in for Hickey picks up. Just a small note, Scotland have got 5 players already in danger of missing the next game through suspension. 3 in the starting lineup, Adams, Ferguson and Johnston, and the next game being at home to Greece. Christie and Hickey on the bench also cautioned against Denmark, so obviously hoping that none of them pick up second yellow cards this evening that would rule them out of that hand-in confrontation against the Greeks, which is already shaping up to be a massive one, as Scotland look to finally end the ridiculously long wait to get back to a World Cup next year. The ball in the middle of the park being contested in the air. It's headed down by Ferguson and now picked up by Robertson, but 15 yards inside his own half, plays it back the way to McKenna, and he goes square to John Souttar. Scotland trying to get the ball moving, get the tempo up and try and test that Belarusian defence. It's Robertson once more left hand side. McTominay comes across into that area as well and gets it back to Robertson, who then goes square to Souttar, who'll cross the halfway line. Forward to McGinn, coming in off the right, trying to earn himself a bit of space. He's square to the captain Robertson once more. Ben Gannon-Doak now picks up left hand side, has to come back the way to Ferguson, who'll come back to the halfway line. Belarus well organised, looking to try and regain a bit of pride after that battering they took in Athens. Here's Souttar out to the right. Early ball from Johnston's a decent one into the feet of Adams. Adams tries to lay it off for McGinn, and he's done so well. McGinn moving forward now and leaves it to his left to Ferguson. Now it's Gannon-Doak left of the penalty area. Can he take his man on here? Little trick doesn't come off, and he's given possession away, and then in trying to block the clearance, it comes off him and out for a throw. And I guess when you want to get the ball out to the wingers, Michael, and they're going to sometimes, they'll try a trick or two. It's not always going to come off. I suppose it's about just having the confidence to keep trying.
100%. They're wingers, when you're trying to do things, when you're trying to play balls in the final third to open up defences, or you're trying to take people on, it's never going to come off every time. Because if it did, then the game is extremely simple. And we all know it's not like that, but you shouldn't stop trying to do those right things. As long as you're doing the right thing, then continue with it. And as I said before, getting to the byline, cutting it back, it didn't come to anything. That doesn't mean that you don't continue to do that or stop it. That last attack, it all started to build from when the ball went into Max Johnson and he fires it round the corner into Che Adams' feet quickly. Quick passing like that, breaking lines, penetration, it allows you to get in behind the opposition, and for them to have to pick up other players and get dragged out of areas.
Adams chasing a through ball from Robertson there. There's just too much on it. It's through to the goalkeeper Lapikov of CSK Sofia, and then played forward by Pechinin down that left hand side. Malashevich unable to reach it. Still 0-0 with 11 minutes on the clock. It's back with Souttar. Right hand side now is Johnston, and back with Angus Gunn now of Nottingham Forest on his 18th cap for his country. Robertson, who still has that record of Kenan Dalglish's in his sights, and certainly getting to the World Cup would help him surpass it, as McTominay picks up left hand side, infield to Gilmore, back with McTominay. Now Ferguson just tries to nudge it on to Adams, sliding in there. Volkov gets something on it, but Scotland keep possession, and it's out with Gannon-Doak midway inside the Belarus half. Back now Robertson, comes back to the halfway line to McKenna, and then it's returned to Robertson. McKenna once again left out against Denmark, but preferred to Grant Hanley tonight. Steve Clarke explaining beforehand why. He gives you better balance when you're trying to attack more. There was a late challenge there on Lewis Ferguson. He's just taking his time to get back to his feet, but play continues with Scotland in possession through Robertson. Ferguson's back on his feet and hobbling back into the middle of the park now as Souttar picks up on the halfway line. Belarus working hard to make it difficult for Scotland to find the gaps. McGinn, that's a good ball into the feet of Shea Adams. Still his back to goal. Being hassled all the way there by Zabeline, but Scotland keep the ball moving. It's Robertson towards the back post. The keeper comes and claims that well inside his own 6-yard box. I think the referee's actually given a free kick for Ferguson's challenge ultimately, but again, bit better from Scotland. As soon as they up the tempo, Michael, it's when they start to get the more joy.
Well, the tempo's been there. It's the importance of playing forward passes. If you've too many, as I've mentioned before, that are just in front of the opposition, it becomes easy enough for them. I mean, it's quite embarrassing that you're looking at giving free kicks for that. I mean, Lewis Ferguson's he's running in towards the ball and he simply just put a hand on the goalkeeper to stop his run, and that's embarrassing as well from the referee, giving a free kick for John Souttar up, challenging with Barkowski.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's absolutely nothing in that.
Yeah, Barkowski again going down, clutching his head, but it was a perfectly legitimate jump from Souttar to win the header, and yet the referee has bought it and given Belarus a free kick about 15 yards inside the Scotland half, left of centre, and the free kick to be taken by Pechanin, the left wing back once more, who spoke to the media yesterday evening. And he swings that one in. It's a pretty decent looking ball. Adams is back there. It comes across him. It's kept in, but Adams will pick up on the pass and he'll try and bring it out of defence. Eventually just hoisted forward by Ferguson up towards Gannon Doak. Brings it under control. Good ball. McGinn driving forward. It's Robertson actually helping the attack. Now it comes to McGinn, edge of the box. Across to his right hand side. Gilmour goes down. No
it's
penalty.
It's got to be a corner kick though, ref. It's got to be a corner, and I think that is the right call, to be honest.
Looked like Gilmour was going down looking for a spot kick as he felt a little bit of contact potentially. He had got wrong side of Pechanin, but the referee certainly not buying that one. He does award the corner.
It was a good quick attack. John McGinn sliding it into Billy Gilmour's path, but just as he takes the touch to go across, Pechanin, the defender, gets the slightest of touches. Have a better look of it here. And just as you can see there,
crucial touch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is crucial, of course, because he was going in towards goal, but it looks as if the referee was going to give a by kick at first, which clearly it could never have been.
Here's McGinn's corner from the right hand side. Back to McTominay. Didn't get a hold of the volley he was attempting there at all, to get a cleaner swipe almost, as Robertson tries to help it back to Angus Gunn. He's got to be careful here, and he's not managed to get it over the striker. Malashevich will go and chase that down over to the right. Gunn almost getting lucky there in some respects, because he hit it off Malashevsky, but it did rebound out to the right hand side and out to safety as it turned out, and a Scotland corner almost turning into a shot Belarus goal.
Well, you can see that Malashevich has got so much pace. We saw it just before when he was chasing down the line with Scott McKenna. I thought Andy Robertson was unfortunate because the ball looked to take a bad bounce, and it really topped up on him, and it was difficult for him to get the contact that he was needing or wanting to get back to Angus Gunn, and all of a sudden that pace from the front man Malashevich put the goalkeeper under even more pressure.
16 minutes in, no goals. Belarus get a throw in and they've taken it short on the right hand side. Now it comes into the Scotland box, and a free header there. Max Johnson didn't challenge for it, and it's had to be a save from Angus Gunn. There's the Belarusian was left all on his own there.
It was Pechanin, the left wing back there, I think, that ended up getting the header on now, and yeah, just a little bit too easy for them getting that header. There's plenty of bodies there, but didn't look like there was enough awareness to actually get tight and challenge. Again, John McGinn doing really well, playing that ball forward, starting the attack. He's picking up some good spaces, John McGinn, and looking to get the ball forward at every opportunity.
Gannon Doak turns back, left hand side of the penalty area, one way then the other, and he fires it across, comes off a Belarusian head, picked up by Gilmour in the edge of the box, goes for goal, keeper saves it down to his right, holds on to the second attempt. Decent effort from Billy Gilmour, first Scots one on target.
Yeah, and it's great play from Gannon Doak, you know, and you were talking before about continuing to do the right thing, continuing to try and take the opposition on, even though it's maybe not worked out before. That's a free kick, ref, surely.
Got to be. Johnston was dragged to the ground as Barkowski slipped, and now there's a chance here for Belarus. Flashed across goal and headed away by John Suter
He did really well there, Al.
on his own 6-yard box. Yeah,
and he was, his body position, it was difficult because the ball was almost behind him and he was able to get touch on it and clear the danger area.
Again, the referee not exactly helping Scotland out there, and it looked like an obvious foul by Barkowski as he dragged Johnson to the ground, and almost resulted in a Belarus chance as Robertson now has to do a bit more defending. Does so well and gets it back again from McKenna. We've played almost 18 minutes here in the Zeta Arena in Zalaegerszeg, and it's still Belarus 0, Scotland 0 as you listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sports Extra. Here's Suter just inside the Belarus half.
The one thing I would say is just to try and occasions just miss, the player out. For example, when we're passing it around at the back here for Scott McKenna, he doesn't have to be hitting John Suter every time, and likewise with John Suter, sometimes miss the player out. Try and get that ball out to Gannon Doak as quickly as possible. Isolate the wing back 1v1. Just give him the ball and let him go and attack.
Here he is, trying to get away from Karpovic. That's exactly what he's trying to do right now, up towards the edge of the penalty area. Comes infield now. Is there a shooting opportunity potentially for Gannon Doak? Instead he goes to his right to Johnson, back into the penalty area, swept away from danger and out for a Scotland throw-in.
But look what it does, even though when he's driving in and things are starting to close down, as soon as he shifts it, you've then got space for the other players because he attracts the opposition to him. As soon as you eliminate one player, the next one's got to step out their pocket. Just keep feeding them. In that sense, keep the game as simple as possible. Get the ball out to Gannon Doak as quickly as possible.
Nice touch from McTominay midway inside the Belarus half. He is in the way, and eventually the ball comes to Gilmore, out to the right hand side to Johnston, back onto his left foot. He'll send this one in. Keeper thinks about coming, does come. He's almost impeded by his own player, and he does really well actually to hold on to that, because that could have been problematic for the keeper had that caused him to drop it. But good take from him, and Belarus survive without any real scare there.
Yeah, you've got to say he does absolutely brilliantly there. The goalkeeper ends up catching it with one arm, even though his defender was right in on top of him. Parkomenko, I think it was, that was challenging him.
Not sure what Scotland were actually claiming for there. As a glance down, I'm not sure if it was a foul throw or something from Petchneen, but in any case nothing was given despite their protests, as Lapukov, the goalkeeper, comes out of his area and then clips it long over Suter and Barkowski on that occasion. Offside flags up, and it will be a free kick to Scotland. Not taken from the right place, but the referee lets that one go as Robertson and Ferguson exchange passes on the left hand side. Now it's McTominay on that left flank, out to Gannon Doak. This time he goes back to his skipper Andy Robertson on his 86th appearance. 5 caps now behind Jim Leighton, who's second only to Kenny Dalglish in the all-time cap holder charts. Handball there, an obvious one by Malashevich, not penalised because Scotland pick up possession here. Scotland haven't got that early goal they were hoping for, but still level with Belarus, who drew all 3 of their Nations League games. Here is your Gannon Doak, tries to latch onto a ball forward, can't quite get it back across goal, and it's behind for a goal kick. And after 21 minutes, still Belarus 0, Scotland 0.
There's just a few occasions where patterns of play, Scott McTominay, he likes to drift into that inside left channel to try and pick the ball up, especially when it's so tight. There's not a great deal of space in that central area, but unfortunately when he's doing that, it feels like he's just dragging extra bodies into the way for the passing line to be able to get that ball into Gannon Doak a little bit quicker.
Commanding header there from McKenna, but returned by Volkov, and now it's with Robertson. Back into McKenna, now playing his football in Croatia with Zagreb, having moved from Copenhagen. Wasn't given a game in Copenhagen the other night, and here he is starting against Belarus as Robertson picks up left hand side. Ball in from Johnston, as Michael's pointing out to me. He was at Las Palmas in between having been on loan to Copenhagen previously. But anyway, ball kicked into the stand there by...
Well, I'm not being funny, Al. We saw the other night Aaron Hickey, for not even anything like as bad as that from Barkowski, picking up a yellow card. And obviously he's sitting in a short qualifying campaign, and if you pick up a second, then you're going to miss a game. And you talk about consistency. Barkowski, the ball's out the park and he just booted it into the stand. There's only one reason for that.
McGinn taken down late there by Ebong. The referee belatedly points for the free kick. We've gone beyond the midway point in this first period, and there's still no goals in the Zeta Arena. Scotland get this free kick, Gilmore to take, about 15 yards inside Belarus territory. I'm not exactly sure what Barkowski is doing. I think he's pretending he thought that the free kick had already been taken, but anyway, now it is taken to Suter, and it's Robertson forward to McTominay, quickly into Ferguson, who looked to be just slightly on his heels there, as McTominay did play the quick pass. Now it's Gannon Doak though, picking up left hand side, the tricky winger now of Bournemouth, back in field to Gilmore, and Ferguson will stand one up into the box. A poor delivery though, and an easy take for the keeper, who hasn't had a great deal to deal with in the opening 23.5 minutes.
Well, Gannon Doak's the one. You know, he's looking lively. We need to just try and isolate that area of the park, give him as much space as possible, and just keep feeding him. Just keep getting the ball to him as quickly as possible.
Good defending there by Andy Robertson, holding off Malashevich.
Striker's feet needs to play quicker. There's too many touches on the ball. Where possible, we really have got to take as few touches as possible to keep the ball moving, to keep moving the opposition.
Forward to come now through Robertson, and is back out with Gannon Doak in the left flank, midway inside the Belarus half. Can he take on Karpovic here? Instead he just rolls it back, and now it's forward for Adams, left hand side of the box. A few Scots in the penalty area. It's headed away before McGinn or indeed Johnston can get onto it. It'll be chased by Ebong, but he's done well actually. Johnston was trying to see it out of play, and Ebong swung the leg round him, but that's given away in a dangerous area, and Robertson picks up into the feet of Adams, about 25 yards from goal. Out to this right hand side for Max Johnston. Johnston a couple of touches, then he swings it in. Not a great delivery, and easily headed away by Zabalin. Only as far as Suter, who rolls it into the feet of Gilmore. Gilmore centre of the park for McKenna, and now Ferguson left hand side. McTominay comes and looks for it and gets it, tries to just dance away from Kalinin, but fails to do so, but it's off Kalinin and out for a throw-in over on the far side. 0-0 after 25.
That previous pass from Scott McKenna to Ferguson, that's one of those situations I was talking about before, where rather than sliding the ball to Ferguson's in that sort of left back area, miss him out and hit the wide man. Gets the ball into the wide men as quickly as possible.
McTominay hits the deck, and there's a Scotland free kick awarded for the attentions of Parkamenko right through the back of the Scotland midfielder. I think probably Scotland would have been feeling hard done by had that been given against them, but McTominay showing his experience just to buy that free kick, and it's in a good area actually, left of centre certainly, just to the left of that far side of the penalty area, but in a good advanced area about 25 yards from the goal line. So Scotland have thrown all the bigger men forwards. Not exactly a towering team, you'd have to say it at this stage, but McTominay's in there along with the centre backs, and it's swung in dangerously, and it's headed over the top of the crossbar by John Suter. A good delivery, and Suter met it powerfully enough, but couldn't direct it downwards.
Yeah, just gets caught underneath it a little bit in the end. John Suter, got to be honest, just over 25 minutes into the game, and disappointing is the sort of overriding feeling at the moment that Lapikov has not really had too much to do, has he, in the goal for Belarus.
Up goes Suter again. Again he's been penalised. I mean, he's not doing anything remotely wrong as far as I can tell. It's just going up to challenge for an aerial ball. The striker's making a meal of it every time and going down, and the referee's buying it, unfortunately, for Scotland.
Yep.
He's just getting up earlier than him, isn't he?
he's holding his face, and literally he just jumps up and clatters and falls himself down.
And comes the free kick to the edge of the penalty area. Adams tried to head it clear. Robertson tries to help it on as well. Almost gets it away. In fact, he's giving it away in a dangerous area to Malashevich. He puts it into the area. McTominay, and then Ferguson scoops it out to this near side, and Gilmour will go down and buy a rather cheap free kick again from Ebong. And at least the referee's been consistent in some of the cheap awards he's giving.
But this is now getting into the territory where, you know, the performance is just lacking that little bit of intensity, and the lack of atmosphere feeds into it. The ball's been retained, of course it is, but we need speed, cutting edge.
Yeah, it's
we need some attempts on goal as well, just to bring a bit of life to it.
You think the lack of a crowd plays into that a little bit?
Well,
the lack of intensity?
It does a wee bit, but the problem is that just the way that things like that from John McGinn, he's done that so often. Need to take less touches, need to play the ball quicker, need to get the ball into, you know, the wider areas for Gannon Doak quicker. Give him the ball and give him space.
He is getting it from McTominay. Now he comes inside, clips it to the back post. Johnston, can he get it back across goal? Yes, he can. Oh, it's just diverted narrowly wide as McTominay came in, arriving late as he loves to do, and he almost studied it just past the post. And it was a good bit of play from Johnston to get it back across goal. McTominay just wide.
Yeah, but I mean, again, get the ball to Gannon Doak. You know, in terms of simplify that aspect of the game. He cuts inside, he's attracting the opposition. He plays a great ball out to the far side for Max Johnson, who then likewise puts a good ball into a dangerous area, and all of a sudden you get a sense that something could come from it. We need to do more of that, much more of it. You know, Ben Gannon Doak is quite comfortable cutting inside or going down the line. He's got good variety in his game.
McGinn's been penalised, but in the meantime Billy Gilmour's down holding his face for a previous challenge, and he's making the point to the referee that why was he not given the initial free kick, but it's McGinn who's been as I say, penalised for the challenge on the Belarusian captain Max Ebong. So free kick on the halfway line, and half an hour almost played here now, as the free kick's taken by Zabalin from the left hand side away out to that right flank. It's well won by Gannon Doak on the edge of his own area. Gilmour helps it on, and Parkamenko will just let that roll out of play for a throw in just inside the Scotland half. 0-0 then in the Zet Arena, and Scotland look to build on the opening point they earned in Copenhagen with another 3. Well, Scotland complaining not for the first time that Belarus are wasting time by kicking the ball away, and you'd have to say they've got a point, but the referee still doesn't produce a card, and now the free kick's taken to Suter. Halfway line, plays it to his left to Robertson. Robertson forward for Ferguson. Ferguson on to McTominay on the left. Just nudges it back to Ferguson and then gets it back once more. McTominay infield, he comes to Gilmour. He goes back the way to Robertson and then back out to the left hand side to Lewis Ferguson. Gannon Doak made a run, but Ferguson comes back infield into the centre circle, where McKenna helps it out to Suter. Suter advancing now in McGinn, right hand side, leaves it for Johnson, who pokes it back to McGinn, tries to get it back to Johnson again, it doesn't come off, and Belarus cleared up to the halfway line. Good challenge, McKenna to win it for Gilmour. Gilmour just side foots it to Robertson, who again gets it back from Ferguson. Robertson into McTominay, left hand side of the penalty, and now he goes down. The referee has a look.
Ref.
No, he's given nothing. I mean, of course, we've got VAR involved here. I'm not sure if it was just inside the penalty, and now Belarus get the free kick.
That's it. I mean, look, he has to either give a free kick or a penalty down here. As Scott McTominay, that's a free kick or a penalty kick. We're looking at it, it's inside the box. I don't know how you can not give that.
Surely the VAR's got to be having a very close look at that.
Yeah, the defender dangles his leg in, and Scott McTominay skips past him. He gets fouled.
No, play on. No penalty. It's a free kick.
But then he goes up the other end of the park, and the Belarusian player barely gets touched, throws himself to the deck, and he gives a free kick.
Yeah. 1-0 Denmark in Athens against Greece in the other game in this group, and it's Damsgaard, who was more or less their best player, I felt, the other night, and he has got on the score sheet this evening, the Brentford player, to make it 1-0 to the Danes, which I have to say, having seen both teams in action of late, kind of surprises me, but plenty of time for Greece to get back into that. But Denmark will have a point to prove, having dropped 2 against Scotland. 0-0 here after almost 33 minutes, and Scotland not putting on the type of display I think we were all hoping for, as Belarus prove difficult to break down. Early ball forward from Johnson's a really poor one, really straight through to the goalkeeper Lapukov, and Belarus continue to look relatively comfortable at the back, you'd have to say. The Suter again tangles there with Barkowski. This time it wasn't an aerial one as such, and found its way back to Lapukov in the Belarusian goal. That one straight onto the forehead of Suter, who gets it back from Gilmore, and then out to the left hand side to Andy Robertson. Just under 12 minutes to play in this first period. Listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland and on 5 Live Sports Extra this evening, as we bring you commentary from Zalaegerszeg in Hungary, where Belarus are playing their home games right now against Scotland in this World Cup qualifying Group C match. It's picked up by Robertson, looks for a 1-2 from Ferguson. Ferguson holds on to it instead. Now he rolls it short to Robertson, midway inside the Belarus half, left hand side, good ball into the feet of McTominay, who tries to lay it into the path of Gannon Doe, but that one didn't come off. But I mean, going back to that penalty claim, that is really contentious. You can only, I mean, VAR, we've not got VAR in our ear, so we can't tell to what degree they looked at it, but it looked from the replays that we're looking at that it was a real good case for it.
Yeah, I mean, plain and simple for me.
Here's Gannon Doe picking up, leaves it to McTominay midway inside the Belarus half, coming in from the left. Now it's Gilmore out to the angle of the box to Johnston, onto the left foot again.
He's got to go down the line. You know, there's no reason for him to be cutting infield there. It completely changes the angle of the cross, and he's 1v1 against the wing back touching, and he needs to go and take him on.
Here's Gannon Doe on the left hand side. It's Robertson, back for Ferguson, early ball for McTominay. McTominay, the left hand side of the box, tries to come in again, can't quite get the pass off, can't quite wriggle between the defenders, and Belarus poke it clear. 10 minutes till the interval, 0-0, as Gannon Doe picks up in the left touchline and tries to attack the Belarus defence, tries to get this shot off, but it's blocked just inside the area. Scotland recycle it. It's Ferguson clipping it to the back post, looking for Johnston, never going to win that one though, and it's headed away, and Gilmore picks up. Suter just lets it run across him and plays it back in field to McKenna. Scotland try and lift the tempo somewhat. It's Ferguson forward once more to Robertson, just inside the Belarus half, and then McTominay again looking to inject a bit of spark here, as he has so often in recent times in a Scotland jersey. Now it's Suter into Adams, who's barely touched the ball, but here he is holding it up and leaving it to McGinn on the right hand side of the box. Now Johnston back to Suter. Scotland got just about every outfield player well advanced, as Johnston picks up again. I don't know who he's playing that to, but it's McKenna who has to go back and retrieve it well inside his own half. And I thought he looked a little bit nervy when he came on, particularly after the handball incident the other night, and he hasn't quite captured the form that Aaron Hickey was showing in the early stages against Denmark, although of course that is a high bar to try and hit. Here's Ben Doak left hand side. McTominay can't keep a hold of it, and Belarus emerge with possession just outside their own penalty area, and now it's clipped forward for the speedy Malashevich. Angus Gunn comes out his goal. He does really well, Gunn, because Malashevich, again, as Michael's mentioned, he's got the beating of McKenna pace wise, and he was almost in behind, but Gunn, alert to the danger, comes well out of his area and just skips away from the attacker before he could take control of the forward ball. And that looked dangerous again for Scotland on the counter. 37 played, 0-0. Scotland could really do with a goal before half-time to settle my nerves as much as anything else. Here's Robertson out to the left-hand side for Gannon Doak. up against Karpovic, coming up to the penalty area, tries to take him to the byline. Now he checks back, lays it back to Robertson, it's a deep cross, but it's too deep, straight out of play. Very disappointing from the captain. And after 37 and a half minutes here, it's still Belarus 0, Scotland 0.
I mean, Gannon Doak is quite clearly the man in the Scotland jersey that looks like something's going to happen when he gets on the ball. Either he's going to do it or he's going to create an opening for one of his teammates. Even there, hitting the byline, the defender sticks with him, rolls it back to Andy Robertson in a great position. Just unfortunately the Scotland captain doesn't get the cross that we all would have hoped for.
Pechanin on the halfway line, back the way to Volkov, the central of the three defenders. To his left is Zabelin on the halfway line. He hits the big diagonal out to the right hand side to Karpovic. Back in field now for Mijakic, and then back into Volkov on the halfway line as Belarus try and string a few passes together. Out it comes to Pechanin, tries to get it immediately beyond Max Johnston, who lets it hit off him and out for a throw in just down below us, midway inside the Scotland half, left hand side. That is a foul throw. That must have been what they were looking for the last time, because if it was exactly the same as that one, but as so often in modern football, it's not penalised. That's a poor clearance from the goalkeeper. Gilmore tries to bring it under control. Shea Adams didn't even move
I think he was thinking he was offside and he didn't want to get involved in it.
Fair enough. McKenna gives Angus Gunn a rather dicey looking pass back, but again Gunn deals with it well, gets it to Johnston, forward down the right hand side. It's going to bounce beyond McGinn, knocked forward by Zabelin. Now again Scotland are sleeping here. It's Ebong inside the penalty area. Ebong with a chance here, can he find the back of the net? Good save from Angus Gunn. Scotland just half asleep at the back there, and the chance there for the skipper. Ebong denied by Gunn at the near post.
Well, it's Max Johnston. I don't know what he's doing. He's looking at the Belarusian frontman.
Malashevich was offside.
Yeah.
He called offside.
I didn't realise which one of the Belarusians. Malasheva offside. Ebong is in behind Max Johnston. At least got 2 yards on him, but because the fullback's standing watching, Ebong is latched onto it, driving into the box from the inside left channel, and all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, we're in some serious bother. And just get the sense that slackness is now creeping into the performance.
Well, that was as good an opening as we've seen in the game, and Gunn coming to Scotland's rescue with 5 minutes to play in this first period. 0-0 it stands, but Scotland have just got to sharpen up a little bit. I'm sure that'll be one of the messages from Steve Clarke at the interval. But it's Belarus just at the moment coming forward as Zabelin gets out to this left hand side to Pechanin, who flights it into the air. Gunn comes to try and claim. Good take just about his penalty spot as Barkowski tries to prevent him knocking it long.
Yeah, the concern now is that this, the game's drifting. We need to inject that intensity, and it becomes difficult once the game's drifted like this. Max Johnston's having a wee difficult spell at the moment as well. He needs to just get 5 minutes up until half time, some simple passes to feel his way back into it. But again, we're overcomplicating this. We need to just get the ball down and get it out to Gannon Doak's feet. Really, I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but really get him on the ball as often as possible. They're sat in, they're narrow, they're trying to block everything through the middle, but when the ball has gone to Gannon Doak, they're quite happy to leave the wing back 1v1.
Yep, they have been. Yeah, here he is in that exact position. Gannon Doak trying to step away from him. Infield he comes, and he squares it to Gilmore. Gilmore 25 yards from goal, goes for goal. Oh, it's off the post. The keeper pammed it onto the post. As close as Scotland have come as Billy Gilmore tries his luck from just outside the area and pushed onto the upright by the keeper.
Well, every time he gets the ball, it looks like something's going to happen. And I keep saying it, because when he cuts in field, he's attracting the opposition, which creates space for his teammates. This time Billy Gilmore on the edge of the box, he's able to get a strike away. Just keep feeding them, just let them keep going and taking them on. Brilliant from McGinn.
Once again, Gilmore now inside the penalty. Adams, can he find room for the shot? It's blocked from about 12 yards out. Gilmore trying to keep it alive. It'll come out to the right hand side to Johnston now. Better from Scotland this last couple of minutes as McGinn sweeps it into the back post. McTominay meets it on the head. Adams is there! Scotland have got the opener! half-time. And one of the first moments of quality, McGinn with the ball to the back post. McTominay headed back across goal, and there was Shea Adams to pounce from a yard or two out to make it Belarus 0, Scotland 1.
Well, that's hugely important, isn't it? Right before half-time, Shea Adams getting on the score sheet, which will be great for him as well.
There's a goal check, I should point out.
As the ball came back to John McGinn on the edge of the box, opens up nicely on his left foot. There's nobody offside when the ball comes
Certainly
in.
not.
And then headed across, latches onto it. Shea Adams, there's nothing wrong with it. It's 100% a goal.
It's got to be.
It's a great header from Scott McTominay. He's stretched, fully stretched, and he knocks it with the head right into the danger area where Shea Adams is able to slide in and knock it over the line.
10th Scotland goal for Shea Adams, and it comes at a hugely important time.
Come on, ref.
Oh, he's penalised Suter for the same thing again. I mean, if he thinks that's a foul for the third time,
He's not even having a, yeah,
why is he not booking him?
Yeah, I know. He's not even having a word with John Suter. Literally, Barkowski, every single time John Suter goes up, he just holds his head and falls down. It's actually embarrassing.
It is, but it's given Belarus a free kick in a decent area, about 30 yards or so from the goal line, left of centre. It's going to be Pechnine to send it in as they look for a quick equaliser. It's headed by a Scotland head at the near
Gannon
post.
ducks through.
And the goal scorer Adams tries to feed him in, but the keeper's well out of his area, and he manages to get the first contact there to clear the danger. And then McGinn, to be fair, did shove a ball there, and it is a free kick to Belarus, who try and take it quickly.
Well
but Robertson's
done.
in the way, and he guides it back with the head to Angus Gunn. And with a minute left to play in this first half, at last it's Belarus 0, Scotland 1.
That's a really good defender from Andy Robertson, recognising the danger and then having good composure just to head it back to the goalkeeper.
McGinn's been excellent again, hasn't he? He was brilliant in Copenhagen, I thought, and he's really been one of the few players you mentioned a few times, just playing the first time ball there is again yet to Gilmour.
And a lot of them have been inside. It's not as if he's wrapping balls round at the striker's feet, but it's the perfect angle.
From Doak, Gannon Doak beats his man with a little dummy, then he tries to go past another one. Well, the referee points for the goal kick.
Surely that's a corner.
Well, I thought maybe he did take the last touch, I have to be honest, but the initial little dummy that took it through the legs of the first defender.
And you're right, Al. Parkamenko just gets the touch back off of Gannon Doak.
A minute added on at the end of the opening 45, which we're into now. And Scotland with the slender advantage given to them by Shea Adams. 10 goals now for Scotland in 41 appearances after his hat-trick out in Liechtenstein recently. Here's Suter out to Johnston infield to Gilmour, early on for Adams. Adams holds on to it and then leaves it to McGinn. McGinn invites Johnston forward. He's poked it beyond Pechnine. He'll continue to chase. Across comes Zabalin. He'll just see it out of play quite comfortably in the end for a Belarus goal kick. But that goal coming when it did just a couple of minutes before the end of the 45 can make such a difference. As Belarus get the goal kick forward, just a few seconds remaining. This time it's McKenna getting above Barkowski, and there is the half-time whistle. And importantly, Scotland have managed to get their noses in front just before half-time, having survived, it has to be said, a couple of scares. The biggest one was when Max Johnson was rather caught in his heels and a ball went in behind and had a really good chance, and Gunn was forced into a good save. John Suter, just incidentally before I wrap things up, is speaking along with Andy Robertson to the referee, and presumably is about the fact that he keeps being penalised for what we are considering to be fair challenges in the air against Barkowski. But anyway, that's not come to anything. And just in the last few minutes of the half, Scotland up the ante. Gilmour had an effort pushed onto the post by the keeper Lapukov, and less than a minute later the ball came to McGinn in the right angle of the box. He swung a beautiful ball to the back post where McTominay headed it back across goal, and Adams was on his toes to pounce and knock it over the goal line to make the half-time scoreline in Hungary. Belarus 0, Scotland 1.
Scotland in the World Cup qualifiers.
Goal Scotland!
Live on Sports Sound
From BBC Radio Scotland.
The stories we tell.
About the people we know.
And the places we love.
Are not just made here.
They're stories made of here.
The British Isles are globally important for nature.
Yeah, we might find that kid who's got the raw talent, who's in a back street in Preston somewhere. That'd be amazing.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Glasgow.
You'll always be my home.
Made of Glasgow.
Belfast.
Liverpool.
Cornwall.
Newcastle.
Cardiff.
Made of here.
Because this is our BBC.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We're also on 5 Sports Extra this evening. Kenny McIntyre in the studio with Tom English and Willie Miller. Michael Stewart and Al Lamont doing the commentary out in Hungary for us this evening. Scotland with that narrow advantage out there, leading at half-time by 1-0. Chad is with that goal on 43 minutes. Your thoughts on that first half, Willie Miller? Up until we got the goal, it was a bit of a struggle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a long time coming, the goal, wasn't it? And not really. Plenty of possession. Some threatening moments. Just perhaps the delivery at times not particularly, effective. Gannon Doak, looking like a real threat at times. And, Michael saying get the ball out to him. Absolutely get the ball out to him and let him take on the wing back, because he is struggling the wing back when Gannon Doak actually is positive, but he's usually always positive anyway when he gets the ball, and he's showing a fair bit of trickery as well. The goal itself, a good piece of work, and Shea Adams getting the nod up front, manages to get himself just in the right position, anticipates a header coming back down from McTominay, and it's 43 minutes though, isn't it? So it's well into the game, and it's a relief actually that we've managed to find the back of the net, but we've created 2 or 3 opportunities. The penalty will be a bit of a talking point as well. It looked as though there was definite contact. It could have been interpreted as a penalty in my opinion. They've had a look at it and they've decided that perhaps McTominay's went too straight at the defender and maybe looking for the challenge, but there was definite contact. There was plenty of contact. It was in the box. And for me, I think it's a responsibility of the defender to get out of the way there, rather than I think he's too close to McTominay. He's given McTominay the opportunity to take him on. McTominay's went by him and they've both collided, and another day that's given us a penalty.
Well, before we have a broader look then at the half, Tom, your thoughts on that situation when McTominay was challenged? That was in 32 minutes.
Yeah, I'd like to look at it again. I mean, have they given it because they think that McTominay has just run into him? But there's contact, there's very clear contact there. I'd like to see another. I mean, initially I thought not so sure. I saw it again. I thought, hang on a second, that could easily be a penalty. Mm-hmm. It could be. But listen, they haven't given it. Scotland had the lead anyway. It was a nicely taken goal because I thought they were looking, apart from Gannon Doak, who's been terrific and who's absolutely scaring the life out of them. Anytime he gets the ball, makes something happen, cutting in off that left wing. Looks very accomplished, looks very dangerous. But Scotland were, apart from him, passive, a bit sluggish. But then the goal arrives, and it's a lovely goal. Mm-hmm. Great cross. It's a lovely cushioned header by McTominay. He knows exactly what he's doing there. Yeah. And it's a nice finish from Adams. I said this is the type of game that Adams does score in, and he's done it. And that's a relief, isn't it? It's a relief to Scotland. At least they've got one on the board.
Yeah, because they looked, Willie, quite dangerous. We've seen a couple of the highlights here, quite dangerous in the break. A bit of speed up front for them.
Milicevic, isn't it, that has got the pace, because and he's playing down the side of Scott McKenna. Scott recovers well. I think this is the one he gets a challenge in, is it? Or is it the one that Gunn comes out and anticipates it and takes care of it? Yeah, but he is a threat. There's no doubt about it. He'll need to be watched. And as I said, Scott McKenna's pretty quick, but Milicevic looks equal to him, on evidence so far. So you'll need to try and anticipate it perhaps a little bit more when he sees the threat coming. We're hoping that we're maybe going to see this penalty or this penalty claim at some point. We're seeing plenty of replays, but we haven't managed to see it yet. And the thing is, Tom, as well, when VAR are watching that and they're slowing it down, there's no doubt that there's contact. There's absolutely no doubt that there's contact.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Willie. Maybe they think just McTominay's looked for it.
Yeah,
he's run into the defender, and they've not given it. It's hard to know. Again, I want to see it again, but I'm just glad that Scotland have the lead while Gannon Doak is on the pitch, because given he's had so little football, I can't see him playing 90 minutes tonight, and he's the one who's making things happen. So at least now he's there. He's causing problems to Belarus, and Scotland now have got the lead. You could see him maybe coming off after 70. That would be a good shift. Maybe Scotland will have added to them. I'd like to see him, as Mikey's saying in commentary,
get the ball to him.
Sometimes you can overcomplicate football. You can make it a cosmic game as much as you like. You can really make it complicated. Give him the ball and things happen. Do you know?
The ball chance is a huge opportunity for them, isn't it? Scotland have switched off. Max Johnson definitely switched off. Maybe John Shooter should have kind of anticipated that a little bit more. They're obviously thinking that the player was offside, but then he didn't take part in it, so you've got to anticipate these things as well, and they didn't. He just ran himself into a very tight corner. I think his gun did well to make the save, but it was going to be difficult. The kind of a tighter that angle got for him to find the back of the net. But all round, I mean, Scotland's dominating. There's no doubt about that. It's a well-worked goal. They deserve the lead. They've had a couple of scares at the other end, but the fact about it is that they've got that one goal, and I think Belarus, if it goes in at half-time and they're hanging on, and it gives them that confidence that they thwarted Scotland and they haven't managed to score. So what a huge goal that was for Shea Adams, and good anticipation from him. He's got to read that. He's got to stretch out and get the little toe on it. It's a good striker's finish, I would suggest. A well-worked goal, but a good striker's finish. Good anticipation from him. So you go in at half-time 1-0 up, and things are looking rosy.
Terrific there from McTominay. I don't know if it's terrific from McTominay.
Yeah, we're just watching a replay of it now, Michael. Fantastic from McTominay, and good anticipation from Adams at the back post.
I was just sitting here with Al. I said it in commentary, but I was sitting here with Al, just saying exactly that, watching the replays. It's the header from McTominay which is inch perfect, and he's obviously backtracking as well, and fully stretched, but it's a perfectly placed header back across the goal for Shea Adams to be able to slide in and put it in. A huge goal, because I've got to say, just the sort of previous 5 minutes, there was a slackness that had started to creep into Scotland's performance. As much as we dominated it, you could just get a sense of things were petering out towards half-time. So to get the goal, it just changes the dynamic completely. And I heard Tom saying there, and he's obviously just spot on reiterating what we were talking about non-stop in the first half. Just keep giving him the ball, Gannon Doak. Just keep giving him the ball. He's quite happy to cut inside. He's quite happy to go down the line. He's got great variety. And it's not as if the ball's going out to him and he's wasteful. He keeps looking like he's going to do something. He's got to the byline, he's put balls in. There's loads of bodies there, they've been blocked, or he's cutting inside and he's finding teammates for space. Billy Gilmore had a shot. There's a couple of other times he clipped one out to the edge of the other side of the box for Max Johnson, who put another ball in, and McTominay, I think that was the one that just toe poked it past the post. Constantly looks like things are going to happen. So just keep giving him the ball. Let him go. And the incredible thing is from Belarus, when the ball goes out to him, they just allow him to go. I think it's Karpovic that he's 1v1 against, and they're just quite happy for him to go 1v1. Parkhomenko starts to slide across a little bit, but they're not really, tight, doubling up on him. So we should be going and exploiting that as much as possible.
I think I love Gannon Doak as a player, but I love his confidence tonight. I mean, this is a kid who up until the other night played 45 minutes of football since January. And he's just kind of electrifying every time he gets on the ball. I mean, this is a kind of a pressure game. Scotland have to win this game, and he's kind of making things happen. And he's got very little football in his legs. I just think he's a terrific talent.
He's just taken off from where he left off in the Scotland jersey. And because when he came into the Nations League, he literally transformed this side, because we looked, in the Euros and preceding Euros, ever since the extremely unfortunate goal that was disallowed in Seville against Spain, when it looked as if we could have perhaps actually beaten them, things just started to drift, and then there was a complete lack of form, and there was a staleness in Scotland, and it continued into the Euros. And then after that, Gannon Doak came in and he just brought the national team alive again, and he's done the same here. And what has been a difficult team to break down, but he is the one, and I'm talking about the surroundings as well. Everything's just a little bit flat because of the atmosphere, the way that they're playing. But he's the one. Give him the ball and he'll make things happen.
Yeah, I remember the buzz when he got the ball at Hampden when he came on. He just gets a crowd going. No crowd there tonight, as Michael's saying, but he is the one that looks dangerous, and the key is get the ball to him more often. We've got both games coming into the studio here. Willie, half-time, Greece 0, Denmark 1. It was actually almost 2 right in the stroke of half-time. Nobody saw that. It was a free kick deflected. An amazing save from the keeper, going the wrong way, and he stuck a foot out and kept out. But you have to say, Willie, the Danes look very impressive tonight.
Well, watching both games here, but every time I look over to my right-hand side where the Greece-Denmark game is on, it's Denmark that is creating all the opportunities. They've had a number of opportunities, very well taken goal too, and some real scares. So they've totally dominated the first half proceedings. But we can look at that and we can hope that Greece aren't as good as maybe Tom expected.
Well, tonight they're not enough evidence of that first half.
There isn't, is it?
They haven't had a shot.
What about Denmark though? I mean,
Denmark
the evidence.
The bits that we're seeing, and we're watching Scotland, but Greece haven't had a shot on target. Denmark have had 4. They've hit the post as well as the goal, as well as the one you talked about.
Side nettings.
They're sharp.
So they look sharp.
Yeah, really
they really
good.
do. I'm surprised. I'm really not just 45 minutes to go, but what does that do to the group? It gives us plenty to talk about later on.
It certainly does. I don't know what we want from that game. The main thing is Scotland get their job done tonight. So far, so good. After a fairly scrappy first half, they're damn scarred with a goal for Denmark in 32 minutes. Just elsewhere tonight, Croatia 1, Montenegro 0. Montenegro down to 10 men. Gibraltar 0, Faroe Islands 0. Israel 1, Italy 1, Kosovo 2, Sweden 0, Switzerland 3, Slovenia 0. So let's get back to our commentary game. Let's hope that Scotland can build on this out in Hungary in the second half. They're up against Belarus with Michael Stewart and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks, Kenny. Yeah, welcome back to listeners of BBC Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland and indeed 5 Live Sports Extra with us tonight for this game out in Hungary between Belarus and Scotland. Scotland are back out, ready to get the second half up and running, but Belarus rather taking their time. They are going to make a double change at the interval as Vadim Pigas and Trofim Melnichenko prepare to come on. Melnichenko's a young teenage striker who plays with Porto B, and I don't think it's any bad thing that he's actually coming on in place of Yevgeny Malashevich, and the other player coming off, not too surprising. Michael mentioned him at half time, Karpovic. Pigas will go and play at right wing back, I think, instead of him. Ben Gannon Doak was certainly giving him a bit of a torrid time, and Melnichenko will replace Malashevich up front, which we'll get into that shortly in terms of what Michael makes of it. But he'd certainly caused Scotland a few problems with his pace. But it will be Belarus then to get us back underway as they look to try and get back into a game that Scotland lead by a goal to nil. Maxi Bong, the captain, who had probably the best opportunity for Belarus in the first period, is about to get us back underway. Scotland will go from right to left in this second period as it just rolls it back the way to Volkov. And the good thing for Scotland, and again, not taking anything for granted, but Belarus don't score a lot of goals. They scored just 3 goals in their Nations League, 6 group games, and as I say, they've changed things up front with the introduction of Melnichenko, plays, as I say, his football in the Porto B team. Scotland have given the ball away in the middle of the park, but it's retrieved by John Suter. I thought Malashevich was looking quite dangerous, Michael, didn't you?
Absolutely. He was looking very dangerous. I wonder whether he's taken a knock or whether some sort of injury, because that pace from him was causing a a few problems. There was a couple of occasions where it looked as if he was going to be able to get strike on goal, or certainly there was a few scary moments with the pace of Malashevich in behind.
Here's Maxi Bong in the middle of the park. Scotland leading by a 1-0 at the start of this second period, and another couple wouldn't go amiss at all for the Scots in this second period as they look to both boost their goal difference but also make this evening that bit more comfortable. As it's headed forward by McKenna on the halfway line, it's returned. Up goes Suter with Barkowski, and now it's Ebong playing it forward. Cut out by the Scots back line, and here's Ferguson back in a deep position, playing it to the left hand side to Robertson, forward for Gannon Doak, and he's quickly closed down by the substitute Pigas, but Gannon Doak has slipped away from him. Now he checks back again, but Gannon Doak,
well, you can see straight away what's happening there. The manager Carlos Alos is sent on a replacement with Pigas, and he's told him to get super tight. Ben Gannon Doak spun him there, and he was fouling him. I think he should have kept going. He would have been getting a foul because Pigas was starting to pull his jersey.
Yeah, and he fouled him again by giving him a wee boot in the heel as Gannon Doak played the ball backwards. So I wouldn't be surprised if the manager had told him in some sense or another to 100%. Make sure he knows he's there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's clear as day. That's what they're going to be looking at it and going, right, their danger man is Gannon Doak. Don't give him space. In the first half I was astonished. They were quite happy to allow him 1v1.
Here's McGinn coming forward. Here's Ferguson. Gannon Doak is making a move into the area. In fact, it's Robertson who picks up deep cross. Adams back across goal, but right into the arms of the goalkeeper at his near post. No real trouble there for Lapikov to gather.
It's a good ball from Andy Robertson, but Che Adams just couldn't repay the favour for Scott McTominay. He's on the 6-yard box in plenty space, but he just couldn't get his foot round it to pull it back.
Here's a ball coming forward down the left hand side now out with Melnichenko. Can't get the ball meaningfully into the area, and Ferguson cuts it out and clips it forward for McGinn, who plays it infield well for Gilmore. Now it's Adams with his back to goal, coming well into his own half, but keeps possession well, and now McTominay gets it moving for Robertson, and now Gannon Doak's on the chase. Pigas trying to live with him, but out comes the keeper to clear in any case. But
done from Suter as well. He's pulled it out there, played it first time just to keep the pace in the attack. That's lucky.
Yeah,
Billy Gilmore's caught there. It wasn't a great ball to him from Scott McTominay, to be honest. And Barkowski, I don't know how he's getting away with this.
I know.
He was the one that booted the ball into the stand when it was already at the park as well. He stood in front of another free kick, and there he just tried to almost block it.
Here's McTominay sliding it forward for Ferguson. Ferguson's into the penalty area. Good challenge actually from Parkamenko to slide it out for a corner. It was pretty much a despairing one. He had to make that absolutely accurately, and he managed to do so after Ferguson had got goal side. And Scotland will have the corner on this left side, which Ferguson himself will take. 1-0 to Scots lead in the early stages of the second period. Having scored just before half time, another one straight afterwards would go down nicely. A couple of hundred members of the Tartan Army are in the vicinity, but they haven't managed to get into the game. But they would love the Scots to manage to get on the score sheet again as the ball comes into the 6-yard box. Up goes the keeper. Good take for the second ball there from Lapikov. Yeah, they have, and it's bowled out overarm to Ebong. Ebong will try and switch it. That's a terrible challenge from Gannon Doak. It's a yellow card, and that is a really poor challenge from the young Scots winger. And again, if that had come in on him, we would have been furious about it, and the Scots management team would have been furious.
He didn't need to do it.
Did not.
He did brilliantly to get back, showing willing to bust their gut and get back and help. But they're 2v1 it, and he's across on the byline. On the sideline there. Yes, he gets the ball, but he goes through Ebong. You just can't tackle like that nowadays. I mean, it's a yellow card. There is no more, but I mean, it's right on the cusp. If he'd caught him slightly differently, he could easily have been looking at something worse.
Well, just a little bit of a volatile side there from Gannon Doak. throw. That's a terrible challenge on Lewis Ferguson. That's another yellow, but I mean, that it could equally have been a contentious one. As was it Barkowski again going in?
No, it was Kalinin.
Kalinin, yeah. Going in very late on Lewis Ferguson. I mean, that one should be potentially looked at by VAR as well. He's caught him.
He's caught, by the way, he's caught him on the ankle. That's a red card. That's a red card. He's caught him on the ankle with plenty force. It's not, I thought at first, replay, it was just the body that had caught him. That's not. He's caught him on the ankle there. That's a red card for me. It really is.
No indication at this change that VAR are. I mean, they do check all these contentious issues, but
that's incredible. It really is. He's clattered into Lewis Ferguson at a fair rate of knots, and he's caught him on the ankle.
Well, it seems to be that he's going to get away with that, and Kalinin very, very fortunate to survive there as Scotland come forward down the right hand side. It's John McGinn up against Petchini. Swings the ball in dangerously. McTominay's header straight at the keeper, all alone, 10 yards from goal, and he directs it right into the keeper's arms, and it remains Belarus 0, Scotland 1.
Barkowski, I mean, literally not looking at the ball, and he's just jumped right into Scott McKenna. I don't know how many free kicks he's going to actually not get given against him, never mind be punished further. He's not looking at the ball, he's just jumped into Scott McKenna.
Big chance for McTominay there just a few moments ago. Here's Pigas at the other end. Gannon Doak with him. He's got to just be careful now, Gannon Doak, just to settle down. Back it comes Mijakic, and now Parkamenko out to the left hand side for Zablin, who tries to lift it forward for Ebong. Gives it down well. Under a bit of pressure here, he's managed to squeeze the ball back on the left hand side, swung towards the back post. Pigas is there, but a good defensive header from Gannon Doak, and knocks it behind for a corner. But Belarus certainly aren't out of this just yet, trailing by a goal to 0, 53 minutes in.
Yeah, they've actually shown a bit more of an attacking intent. You know, seeing the replay from the Scott McTominay header, unfortunately just far too close to the goalkeeper.
So Belarus corner right hand side to be taken by the left foot of Kirli Petchinin. Plays his football in Russia, and he'll swing this one near post. Bong leaves it. The dummy McGinn picks up on the edge of the box. Now he's on the offensive on the counter attack, and he's released one of his teammates here. He looks for Andy Robertson, who's the highest player up the park, and it's a good challenge going back there. That was a terrific saving challenge by young Melnichenko, the striker, who had gone back the way, and Belarus have a free kick just inside their own half. But Andy Robertson almost in behind, but the young striker doing his defensive duties there, Melnichenko, to stop him in his tracks, and it remains Belarus 0, Scotland 1.
Barkowski falling to the deck again and winning another free kick.
He's quite good at that, to be fair. As Belarus have it in midway inside their own half. Clipped forward by Parkamenko down the right hand side. Pigas will give chase. Robertson should be able to see that out of play. Pigas almost able to hook the ball round him, but has gone behind for a Belarus, for a Scotland goal kick. 55 minutes almost on the clock. Still Scotland lead by a goal to 0 in this World Cup qualifying match. Looking to move on to 4 points. Greece at home to Denmark tonight, and they trail the home side by a goal to 0 in the other game in our group, in Group C.
I know you were talking before about ideally looking for Greece to win that game, but to me I think a draw is what I'd be looking for. Denmark looking at potentially then 2 points out of the first 2 games, Greece 4, and then we have them at Hampden, which becomes, well, I mean, it's already a massive game, but I'd like to see a draw coming out of that one, perfectly honest.
Yeah, well, Scotland have to do better against them at home than they did last time. Greece came in that second leg of the playoff and really outclassed Scotland, you would have to say. But Scotland leading this one here tonight against Belarus as McGinn picks up and down, tries to clip another one over the top for McTominay. It's headed away though by Parkamenko and picked up in the middle of the park by Belarus. Pigas tries to play it down the right hand side. Robertson in the way, will be collected here by Gannon Doak, left hand side. Decent challenge on him that time by Miakish. Gilmore just about keeps possession and gets it to McKenna, who's had a good solid game at the back alongside Suter. Now it's Gilmore looking to clip that again for McTominay. Just too much on it from Gilmore. Behind for a goal kick to Belarus. 56 played, Belarus 0, Scotland 1. What you made of Scotland since the interval, Michael? Did you see any imminent changes?
No, not really.
So I think a complaint down there from the Scotland technical area that the ball boys are returning the ball quickly enough. There's not too many of them, you'd have to say, either. But Scotland want to get things moving quicker than Belarus do, albeit they'll be looking to try and get back on level terms, you would have thought, with just over half an hour left to play. Andy Robertson has a throw in here down beneath us. Into Gilmore it goes, and then back to Ferguson, who knocks it straight out of play. And it'll be a throw in taken by Pigas back to Parkamenko midway inside his own half. He knocks it long. It should be won by
again
McKenna.
Barkowski's just jumps into Scott McKenna.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a foul.
The referee and his assistant both missing that. Good play from Suter. Gets it to McKenna at the edge of his own area. Just plays it back to Angus Gunn inside his 6-yard box and out to Max Johnston. Up towards the halfway line looking for McGinn, but it's
They
one.
definitely seem as if they're wanting to try and engage higher up the park, the Belarus side.
It's back in the possession of Lapikov, the goalkeeper.
He's looked okay, Lapikov, we've got to say.
Yeah. On the left hand side, it's played forward by Pechanin. Now a ball. Barkowski plays it on. Pechanin thought he was offside. I'm not entirely sure he was. He didn't go for the ball as a result of that, and the move breaks down when it looked quite promising down that left flank for them. And Scotland pick up once more just outside their own penalty area, leading by a goal to 0 in Hungary. Gannon Doak thought about making the run inside. Pass didn't come from Gilmore, who has it on the left. Now it's Robertson just in the halfway line, back in field to Ferguson, more or less in the centre spot. Spreads it out to the right to Max Johnson. Adams comes off the front to collect. The goal scorer back the way to Ferguson once more. Scotland looking to try and
again, it's
move Belarus about.
We need to miss players out, drop a player with a pass.
McTominay drops the shoulder, tries to get away from his marker. It comes off Ebong and breaks to Ferguson right hand side.
Quickens things up, and we need to just keep coming out to this left hand side and keep getting the ball to Gannon Doak. We've barely done it in the second half.
Yeah, he's not really had a chance to try and take on Pigas apart from I think one occasion very early on.
Left back and then 2 touches and pass and give him it.
Robertson wants him to come short. Gannon Doak collects now, tries to move away from Pigas and Miakish. Then he clips it out to the right hand side for Johnston. He always causes some sort of problem when he's on the ball. Ferguson forward to McTominay. He gets turned. Can he get the shot away? He can, but it's well over the top on the left foot from the Napoli man. 59 minutes in, Belarus 0, Scotland 1.
Now, I know that eventually that comes from the right hand side, the ball getting slipped into Scott McTominay, but you can't ignore the speed that gets injected into the attack when it goes into Gannon Doak. He drops the shoulder, he beats a man, there's 2 players there, he spins it out the other side, and all of a sudden they're having to shuffle and they're a little bit disjointed in their setup.
Long ball forwards. There's one for Melnichenko to chase, but it's all the way through to Angus Gunn, and it's bowled out by him as Scotland look to come forward and get themselves a second goal.
And this, out to Andy Robertson is the player. It's the ball. Again, 2 touches, hit him, hit Gannon Doak.
It's gone back in field though to McKenna. Still been a little bit stodgy this, hasn't it, from Scotland, despite getting the breakthrough before half time.
Yeah, it just feels just as if it's still, everyone's a little bit on edge.
Here is Gannon Doak.
Look at that.
Another little swivel at the hips, and he tries to feed it through for Andy Robertson. He's asking quite a lot of him, and
yeah, but look at the chaos. Look at the chaos that causes, Al, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of you take risk with your passing. It's not always going to come off, but you're disrupting the back line.
Melnichenko and Ferguson come together. Breaks the way of Barkowski. Nice switch of play by him out for Pechdin left hand side on the halfway line. Scotland leading by a goal to 0 against Belarus as Zabalin sends it into the Scotland penalty area, away by Suter. It will fall for Volkov just inside the Scotland half. He plays it square to Parkamenko and out to this right hand side to Pigas. He's got Ganondok on the back foot here as he tries to go around him, trying to get to the byline. Good challenge from Ganondok.
That's great
come off last. The assistant referee says it came off Pigas last, and it will be a Scotland goal kick.
That's absolutely brilliant play from Ben Ganondok. You've got to say, I mean, it looks like a corner kick to me. I'm watching the replay again, it still looks like a corner, but it's brilliant defensive work from the wide man.
Here's Gilmore midway inside his own half, back to Ferguson, square to Suter. If you look at that bench of Scotland's, Michael, who would you like to see come on to try and inject what we need just at the moment? Oh, apart from Kieran Bowie, obviously. I'm just not sure who you like most, Kieran Bowie or Ben Ganondok at the moment. Who's your number one?
I'd perhaps perhaps think about, would it be worthwhile dropping one of the centre midfielders and getting Ryan Christie on in one of those sort of forward type areas. I'm not sure that we're needing both in there sitting at the moment. Obviously Ryan Christie's playing that position a bit more for his club side as well.
Here's Ganondok on the ball once more. Every time he gets possession, it's worth picking up. Here's Gilmore back in the middle of the park for Suter, who's come a little bit further forward into the feet here. Him again, who holds it up brilliantly as usual, and he leaves it to Adams, and now it's Ferguson. 25 from goal. It is a good ball to McTominay, who just couldn't get it onto his right foot to get the shot away, and now Robertson's let the ball go over his head, and it's Melnichenko leading the counter-attack. Robertson trying to recover on the edge of the penalty area. Melnichenko gets the shot off, but it's straight at Angus Gunn. Another warning for Scotland, but it remains Belarus 0, Scotland 1.
Yeah, it was a good ball from Lewis Ferguson. He wrapped it into Scott McTominay's feet in the inside left channel, but McTominay just couldn't shift it to get the strike away.
Here's McTominay for Ganondok, back the way to Ferguson and onto the halfway line to Robertson, and square for Suter. Now to Max Johnson, who's seen a bit less of the ball in this second period as Suter picks up and plays it in field to McKenna. Now it's Ferguson getting turned on the edge of the centre circle out to the right hand side to McGinn. McGinn back into Ferguson. Ferguson looking to try and potentially release Max Johnson, who made the run, but it doesn't go forward. It goes back to Suter instead, and now out to the left to Robertson. Robertson infield to Gilmore, who's got a little bit of space here. Ganondok asking for it, but instead it's Adams tries to lift it back to Gilmore. Oh, it's an own goal! Scotland have a second. It's Volkov who sent it into his own net as Gilmore tried to hit it square across goal. Out came the keeper to try and catch that one. Volkov inadvertently trying to direct it back to his own keeper, sends it past him and into the net, and on 64 minutes it's Belarus 0, Scotland 2.
Well, that was good patience in the build-up, you've got to say, from Scotland. Che Adams dropped in, little pocket of space on the edge of the box, and plays a lovely ball over the top for Billy Gilmore, making the run from deep. He's absolutely onside, and Gilmore trying to knock it back across the face of the goal for his teammate, his club teammate and national team, of course, Scott McTominay, but the defender Volkov is in between, and he knocks it into the back of the net.
2-0 then to Scotland as Gromyko comes on for Mjakic as Denmark go 2-0 up in Athens as Christensen, Andreas Christensen of Barcelona and Denmark puts them 2 goals to the good in Athens. That is
it's a phenomenal result for them.
Very, very good scoreline for them just at the moment. Same scoreline here as Pigas goes in through the back of Ganondok.
He doesn't. I've got to say that's slightly unfortunate for Pigas, because it seemed to me as if he went down the side.
Yeah, I know what you mean, actually,
rather than going through him. He's right in front of us there, and I think he's unfortunate. The ball was just a little bit short. I don't think that needs to be a free kick, to be perfectly honest, but we'll take it.
Yeah. Gromyko, as I say, has come on for Miyakish. Gromyko, as Gannon gets on to inside the area. Chance for McTominay, huge save. That's an offside flag in any case against McTominay. Scotland almost adding a third there. Decent chance. It remains 2-0 Scotland.
Well, a third would be really nice to add to the scoreline. It's a good save. I've got to say, the goalkeeper Lapikov has looked very competent to me.
Yeah, he had no chance really with either goal, you would have to say. Certainly not with that own goal that just went in a few moments ago, as he was caught out by the defender, heading it past him as he came out to try and intercept Gilmore's header across goal. But so Scotland with a 2-goal cushion, which should help them just relax that bit more as Belarus come forward looking for a way back into the game. It's a long range effort from Kalinin, but it's way over the top from about 35 yards almost, and no trouble there for Angus Gunn. Just another look at that Volkov own goal and a close-up of him holding his head in his hands. Scotland in possession there, midway inside their own half. It's Robertson into Ferguson, and now Gilmore, who took up a good position, and it was Adams that played it over the top for him, wasn't it? And it looked like a
nice ball.
Good ball.
It was a nice ball from Che Adams. I'm looking at some of the patterns of play that we've got, and it almost feels like it's just the wrong movements at times. And I keep going back to this. Too often I feel like we're actually running and blocking the angle to get the ball to Gannon Doak, and on too many occasions it feels like he's out of possession when he's trying to receive it. He's running on the inside channel, and a lot of it's to do with the fact he's not getting the ball quick enough. Just chalk on your boots, stay on the line and just feed him.
There's Ferguson on the left, Gannon Doak in close proximity. He's back with Robertson instead, and now McKenna on the halfway line. Ferguson takes it off him once more, and now Robertson back into Ferguson, but he's not able to bring that under control, and Kalinin takes possession of it. Parkamenko back to his goalkeeper here. Scotland leading by 2-0 with just over a quarter of the game, or a quarter of the game remaining, just under a quarter here in Zalaegerszeg, Hungary. Parkamenko on the halfway line for Belarus. You listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sports Extra as it's picked up by Zablin on the halfway line. Tries the big diagonal. Ben Gannon Doak is now referred to back in to intercept that ahead of Pigas, and that's good play from Gilmore linking with McTominay. McTominay now coming back in field into the crowd actually, and he's been stopped in his tracks by Gromyko. But Scotland pick up once more, and that's Gilmore well advanced. Might break here for McTominay. Sliding challenge from Kalinin, who's
he's
already been yellow carded.
That could have easily been sent off, and he's diving into another challenge there. And that's a yellow card.
He's done well, avoid the second one.
That is a yellow card.
Surely that is his last challenge of any kind really that he's going to get away with. Anyway, free kick to Scotland midway inside the Belarus half. Third goal would kill this as a contest with just about 20 minutes remaining. It's Gilmore over it. Right side of the pitch as the diminutive Napoli man prepares to send it into the edge of the box. Not a great delivery, and it's easily headed away, but picked up by McGinn. McGinn gets it back to Gilmore just inside the Belarus half. McGinn once more. Had a little bit of a quieter second period, John McGinn.
Yeah, he's not had as many touches of the ball as he did in the first.
Gunn sends it long, looking for Adams, who tries to pull out of the area, almost manages to do so, but not quite. And Belarus pick up through Zavalin. He plays up towards the halfway line. That's a rare free kick going in John Suter's favour against Barkowski. I say rare, I mean the very first one that has, as Belarus make a couple more changes here. It's going to be Demchenko coming on, and also Malkiewicz. Malkiewicz replaces Pechinin, left wing back. And Volkov, the unfortunate defender who scored the own goal, is also replaced with 19 to play. Belarus 0, Scotland 2.
And when I saw the subs getting made, I've got to be honest, I was expecting Kalinin to be getting taken off after. Fortunate he wasn't sent off.
Fair point. Scotland have it right hand side, and it is John McGinn.
Good play.
Lays it into Gilmore. To his left is Robertson. Back into Gilmore. Robertson once more. Gannon-Dokes here, but it's McTominay who picks up instead. And now Robertson again, 25 from goal. Now it's Adams. Adams is the option here of finding John McGinn. McGinn for Johnston inside the penalty area. Stands up. It's not a great little dink in, and Belarus able to clear and pick up the second ball here after it's headed forward by Ferguson. Down the right hand side they come with Melnichenko, who's looked decent since coming on, but he's out-muscled there by McKenna, who's going to lead this attack. He's looking for support. It's McTominay who offers it, and now it's McGinn.
He's in.
McKenna could be in here, in behind. Back goes Zabeline to cut it out right on the edge of the penalty area. It was a brilliant run from McKenna, not once but twice, but he just couldn't get on the end of the pass as McGinn tried to pick him out, and Belarus survived that particular attack. But they trail by 2-0 against the Scots with under 18 minutes to play. Scotland are going to make a couple of changes. Hickey and Christie, I think, are both preparing to come on here for the closing stages and try and help see this out, maybe stretch the advantage. Lyndon Dykes looks like he's also been told just keep doing a fairly vigorous warm-up and you'll be going on relatively shortly, as McTominay cuts out a cross-field ball inside his own half and then moves away from his marker as Gunn then fires it out of play. Should I guess allow Scotland to make these changes, as Chris Woods, who's the fourth official, the indication they want to go ahead and do it now. And Steve Clark just a final word for Ryan Christie before he goes on. And Gannon-Dokes is the man who's going to be replaced by Ryan Christie, applauded by a few Scots in the stand, assuming they are officials and dignitaries with the SFA, but certainly Scotland fans of some nature. And Max Johnston replaced by Aaron Hickey, and you know, Johnston's a very decent player, but Aaron Hickey is really top class and might make a difference in his closing stages. This is Billy Gilmore takes a fresh air swipe as he tries to challenge Pigas. Scotland can play the ball forward up towards Adams. He can't get onto it, but it's almost fallen for him again, not quite. Picked up by Zabeline at the back. Now in the middle of the park it's Demchenko and Gromyko, who missed that penalty in the shootout against Celtic, but he wasn't made to pay for it as they emerged triumphant in that playoff match. It caused so much consternation for Brendan Rodgers and co. What we got left, just over a quarter of an hour. 2-0 Scotland here in Hungary. And Scotland look to move on to 4 points from the opening two games, which would be a very, very acceptable return. Adams picks up possession, the keeper's backpedaling. Adams must have had half a mind to go for goal, but here he is advancing to the edge of the penalty. He goes for goal, but it's a decent save, although a comfortable one, you'd have to say. McTominay had made a good run and was hoping for the pass. It didn't come, and it remains Belarus 0, Scotland 2.
It's not bad play from Che Adams, but I just felt when the ball got played into him, flicked on from McTominay early on, it took a while to lift his head and see what was on, and I thought he could have narrowed off his run a little bit, but in the end, you know, he's troubled the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper yet again looking very competent.
Yeah, because I mean he might have spilled that and it would have been a tap in for McTominay, but he held on to it pretty comfortably as Gromyko sends a ball in. It's a decent ball that for I think the captain in Bong was it, and the offside flag is up against him.
I think it was our favourite Barkowski.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, at the back post.
Right, yeah. and he couldn't bring it. He couldn't do anything with it, but he was offside.
Maybe he should have fallen down and tried to get a penalty.
Yeah, you never know. Anyway, it will be a Scotland goal kick with time ticking away from Belarus. And our Spanish manager Carlos Alos sitting in his technical area there. He's made all his changes, and time running out for his side to try and find a way back into the game. The goal kick taken by Gunn off the head there of Demchenko and out of play. Scotland throw-in just inside their own half, taken by Robertson to McTominay. Now Christie, who's taken up that left wing position, back into the possession of Lapukov, the Belarusian goalkeeper, and immediately out to Zavalin. Will be brought forward here by Parkamenko. Into the Scots half comes Pigas, and now it's played forward to Melnichenko. Midway inside the Scots half, Gromyko can't get it beyond McGinn, who makes a brave block, and now it's Demchenko picking up for Pigas, right hand side. If Belarus were to get a goal back here, it could be a nervy final few minutes for the Scots. But Angus Gunn, certainly in the second period, hasn't had a great deal to do, and I hope it stays that way and end that dreadful run I was talking about 12 games without a win in a Scotland jersey. Here is Parkamenko at the back for Belarus, just inside the Scots half, clips it forward looking for Pigas. Robertson just sits off him, then he gets the clearance in. Gilmore tries to find Ferguson in a deep area and fails to do so, and Gromyko tries a little back heel which doesn't quite come off, and Scotland will get a throw-in down there. 12 and a half to play, and Scotland should, Michael, be able to see out this victory relatively comfortably.
Yeah, I would think so. I think it's a perfect opportunity to freshen things up top, surely, as well. 2-0 up. A lot of hard work being put in by Shea Adams over the 2 games, but surely you would think opportunity to make a change.
Well, it was Lyndon Dykes rather than Kieran Bowie who seemed to be doing the warm-up that would be more appropriate if you're about to come on, and certainly still out there along with Kenny McLean, who's another great favourite of Steve Clark. So I'm not sure Kieran Bowie or any others are going to get a run out this evening with just 11 and a half minutes left to play, as Robertson makes a bit of a hash of an attempted cross-field ball. He will be able to knock it forward now, though, to McTominay, who shows good strength to hold off Demchenko. No fouls, as the referee, and that'll be a foot race there between Melnichenko and McKenna, but goes all the way through comfortably to Angus Gunn, as McKenna looked to have the better of that foot race in any case. 2-0 Scotland leads here in the closing stages of what could have been a treacherous away game against the pot 4 team, but despite it not being a sparkling performance, it's been competent, workmanlike, and they've got a goal in each half so far as Gilmore brings them forward, and now it's Robertson from 25 yards, poor effort at goal and easily cleared away by Zabalin, picked up though by Ferguson, back with the skipper. Robertson leaves it to Christie, he plays it immediately forward for McTominay on the left flank. Robertson makes a run, he's now found Robertson, who cuts it back. Adams couldn't make anything of it. McGinn thwarted by the keeper. Again, it's good goalkeeping by the Belarusian stopper to keep McGinn out. Had to be brave to get out there, and he was able to do so, and a decent chance goes a-begging for the Scots.
He's a good keeper, you know, he's quick, he was alert there. The ball's ricocheting, about to fall for John McGinn, and he's got himself right out on top of the Scotland player and made sure that there was never going to be an opportunity to get it into the back of the net.
Kenny McLean, I'm fairly certain, is going to come on. Lyndon Dykes is sat back down as Scotland get a free kick over on the far side. 10 to play. Scotland leading by 2-0 against Belarus in Hungary, with a couple of home games against tonight's opposition, but before that against Greece to come in October. And you have to say 6 points from those 2 games, and I know that's not going to be easier said than done, but I would put Scotland in a brilliant position going into the final 2 games in November. They've done a very professional job in these 2 opening games, looking like taking 4 points from the available 6, but Belarus maybe not quite done yet as Demchenko forces the ball forward, looking for Pigas, couldn't find him, and Scotland now pick up, and it's Robertson on the counter. He's got Shea Adams in the middle. Can he pick him out? Big chance for Adams. Takes a touch. Out comes the keeper. Adams from the angle, cleared off the line by Zabalin. I think he should have taken it first time, but Belarus survive. That would have killed it. That would have won it for Scotland for sure. But Shea Adams, rather than take it on first time, took a rather awkward touch, and now here come Belarus at the other end. It's Melnichenko into the penalty area, but he skews his shot well off target, and it remains Belarus 0, Scotland 2.
Well, it was a really well worked move from Scotland down the left hand side. McTominay releasing Robertson in behind. He plays a great ball in, and it's the first touch. Al, that's what causes the issue for Shea Adams not being able to score. It looks like Lyndon Dykes is coming on as well.
Yeah, him and Kenny McLean are ready. Yeah, either he takes it first time or he takes a better first touch, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a poor one, and
it was a great opportunity.
Game,
a great opportunity to make it 3-0, and then you look at that and you say that's a good scoreline away from home, 3-0. Not that 2 isn't a bad one, but you know, if you're looking at what could be a tight group and potentially goal difference makes or has an impact, then opportunities like that against the bottom ranked seed,
for sure. Kenny McLean replacing Billy Gilmore, and Dykes for Adams, who could have added to his tally for the evening had he taken a better touch a moment ago from a terrific pass from Andy Robertson. I mean, it was almost perfect. There wasn't too much on it or anything for Adams to take, was there?
No, it was a great ball. It was a really, really good ball early in behind. It was in such a good position that it meant the goalkeeper wasn't able to really come and affect it.
Scotland throw in. We've got 7 to play plus any added on time here this evening. Wow, scoreline from Athens: Greece 0, Denmark 3. That's a sensational result. I'm sure the Danes weren't overly delighted by the performance, and certainly not the result at home to Scotland, but they are more than making up for it.
It's quite incredible, because when you saw the obviously the game on Friday night, were there, and they were pretty powder puff in the final third, the Danes.
Rasmus Højlund is a man who has put them 3-0 up. Scotland should have probably been 3-0 up, but Adams unable to convert his second of the evening. So 2-0 it stands with just over 6 to play, as Robertson has a throw in an advanced area. Christie out-muscled in any fouls Demchenko, and free kick goes Belarus's way just on the edge of their own penalty area. Back to the keeper, Kapilev. You're listening to the closing stages of Belarus against Scotland on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sports Extra, and it looks like it's going to be a decent enough victory for Scotland. Shouldn't take any of these for granted. They actually lost to Belarus the last time they played them back in 2005 at Hampden. An early Vitaly Kutusov goal putting paid to Scotland's hopes of reaching the 2006 World Cup. They did beat them home and away on the way to France 98 qualifying, so perhaps an omen there as Pigas sends a deep cross in, and watched by Gunn and indeed Darren Hickey, and seen out of play behind for a goal kick, and it remains with 5 to play. Belarus 0, Scotland 2.
It was John McGinn coming back in there, and you're looking at almost the 85th minute. John McGinn making sure he's doing all the hard work, getting back in, alleviating any danger. The cross drifts away to nothing, but it just shows you that willingness from McGinn to burst the gut, get back into a defensive position, and help his teammates out.
Yeah, I mean, he spoke incredibly passionately yesterday actually about what it would mean for him and his teammates to get to a World Cup, 100% a career high, which I guess almost goes without saying, but just even the manner of the way he was speaking was, you truly felt what it meant to him, and you see that in every single performance he puts in for Scotland. And well, I think we would all welcome a return to World Cup action after 27 years now of an absence. And Scotland get the free kick, 4 minutes to play, midway inside their own half. They go back the way to Angus Gunn. All they need to do now is just stay calm and organised and nothing rash, and the victory will be theirs. Denmark certainly look like they're on the way to making it 4 points from 6. Greece will be left on 3 before they come to Hampden on the 9th of October, and you'll have full live coverage of that on BBC, both TV, radio, and indeed on our digital services, as Scotland knock the ball about nicely at the back. Gunn out to the right hand side now for Hickey on that right flank, closed down by Demchenko. Forward it comes to McGinn, who's backing into his man, keeping possession really well, showing such good energy before bringing the ball across to the left hand side for Christie. Christie then just nudges it to his left to Robertson, makes the run ahead of him, but McLean now picks up for Scotland. Now McTominay, closed down by Kalinin, who can't make any sort of rash challenge there. McTominay holds on to it, but not the best pass. I think he was actually just caught as he tried to play the pass and his boots come off, but play continues. Ferguson to McKenna here, 10 yards inside his own half for Robertson. Belarus trying to get the ball back off Scotland here, but Robertson gets it infield to Christie. Good ball and good play from Christie, who plays it off Pigas, and it'll be a Scotland throw in down below as midway inside the Belarus half on the left flank as Scotland come forward. 2.5 left of the 90. 2-0 Scotland lead away to Belarus in this very strange, eerie atmosphere with no fans allowed. McTominay just been given a few moments to put his insole back into his boot here, and a little breather for Andy Robertson before he takes the throw in.
Well, almost 90 minutes up, behind closed doors. 7th win, 3 draws and 2 defeats in the
10 games?
10 games according to Tom English's math. Not a bad record.
This is a bit farcical because McTominay has now gone down. I wouldn't be surprised if the referee thinks about booking him here, because he's taken his he just hasn't been able to get his boot back on. The referee, I think, has tried to tell him you need to go off if you want to change, put your boot back on, and there's no point in picking up a daft yellow card. But the good news is that none of those players who were on yellow cards coming into this have earned another caution, which would have ruled them out of the Greece game. So McTominay now making his way over to this near side.
Something wrong. He needs a new inner sole. That's what he was asking for there.
There's going to be a late change. I wonder if they're just going to bring McTominay off. Indeed, that's what they're going to do, and it's a late introduction for Lennon Miller. It's first competitive game for Scotland. He's not going to get a great deal of time to do anything with it. 89 minutes have just ticked round, but we'll welcome the opportunity nonetheless, and I don't think it'll be the last we see of such a talented young player in a Scotland jersey, as Christie picks up on the left hand side, almost down at the corner flag, trying to wriggle out of a very tight space, loses out to one of the Belarusians, Demchenko. Ferguson though has won it back, and now it's McLean, left hand side, into the feet of Christie. Just takes a slightly slack touch, and Belarus pick up once more, and it's Gromyko trying to come forward away from Ferguson. Smothered though, there's Lennon Miller who won it back, and now it's Robertson. Miller ahead of him once more, tries to feed it forward instead for Lyndon Dykes, and there's too much on it from the Liverpool and Scotland man, and all the way through to the keeper. 90 minutes plus 4 to be added, and we are into those 4 minutes right now. Scotland on the cusp of their first victory of the campaign, and 4 points from 6 in the opening 2 away games, and there's various discussions about wanting ideally a couple of home games to start the campaign, but getting 4 points from 6 from 2 away games is a brilliant way to start any sort of campaign as Lennon Miller tries to get onto a through ball from Christie. Just too much on that one again, and Parkamenko's able to get it down the right. McKenna should be there before Barkowski gets it back to Gunn. He's closed down by Melnichenko, but the pass goes out to Hickey right hand side, and he feeds it forward for McGinn, who lays it off to Ferguson. That's a poor ball into the middle though, and picked up by Belarus, and it's Demchenko in the middle of the park. Just 3 minutes of stoppage time left to play. Pigas comes forward. That's not a bad ball, but it's knocked away by McKenna, who's had a good game at the back alongside John Suter. Done everything required of him, as Pigas sends a long throw into the penalty area. Barkowski goes up that time with Ferguson. He's the one who goes down clutching his head on that occasion, but the ball's ended up back in the possession of Angus Gunn in any case, and Scotland don't look like throwing this away now. 2-0 they lead against Belarus as Gunn thumps it long down this left hand side. It's gone straight out of play. Dykes unable to latch onto it. A couple of minutes left. Mikey, how would you assess what we've seen here tonight in Hungary?
It's a pretty professional performance. I would have liked to have seen a few of the guys like Lennon Miller and Kieran Bowie coming on a little bit earlier. We scored, the second goal, and the game was, was fairly controlled. It wasn't as if it was, too much danger of us losing the game. And then at that point, I'm thinking to myself, it's a great opportunity to get some of those younger guys on the park and give them a little bit of experience, and also just to see what's capable. We know what Lyndon Dykes can do. He's a wonderful player for Scotland. I just would have liked to have seen those guys that we've been talking about getting a little bit more game time.
Christie sends it all the way back to Angus Gunn from inside the Belarus half with 90 seconds remaining. Kenny McLean's caught late by Melnichenko, and the assistant had a very good view of that. It's a yellow card the referee has produced. I mean, certainly the way Kenny McLean went down suggested that it was hurt, but he's quickly back on his feet, and Melnichenko showing the yellow card. It's one of those ones, he's just clearing it down the line, maybe just caught by the striker trying to block the ball down the line. I don't think there was a great deal of contact, in all honesty. Michael, do you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a collision or coming together. Yeah, it wasn't as if it was a vicious challenge. It's exactly like you said. It's the classic one of the striker coming across and making the contact.
Belarus have possession just outside their own penalty area, but it's been stolen by Miller. Back for McLean, and now Christie left hand side. But inside the final minute of the 4 who were initially signalled to be added on, it's back with McKenna. McKenna back to Angus Gunn, who's just outside his own penalty area. To his right is Suter, and Suter forward looking for McGinn. That's not particularly accurate, but Belarus can make nothing of it, and it's back with Gunn once more out to Robertson. Scotland edging further towards the 3 points. In fact, they have them secured here in Hungary, as Belarus proved doughty opponents at times, but Scotland eventually finding a way to grab a goal in each half. Just before half-time, they broke the deadlock through Shea Adams. McGinn and McTominay involved in the move, and Adams there from close range to finish it off. And into the second period, it took them 20 minutes, but they got the second when Adams clipped a nice ball into Gilmour. He tried to head back across goal, as McTominay had done for the opener, and this time it found the back of the net off the head of the defender Volkov, who headed past his own goalkeeper to make it 2-0. Adams had a massive chance to make it 3 just before he was replaced on 82 minutes. He took a poor touch when the goal was pretty much gaping, but it is job done in Hungary, where the Scots played in front of 0 fans against Belarus. But Belarus unable to break the Scots down, and so Scotland have their first victory of this World Cup qualifying campaign and move on to 4 points from an available 6. It finishes here. Belarus 0, Scotland 2.